I've lost all confidence in this board and the staff at my school. I cannot be assured that you board members or the school officials have my education or that of other UCS students as your priority. I started speaking to this board 8 months ago, and I've spoken at every meeting since then. I asked for some simple changes, which you've refused to make. You've also completely ignored my repeated requests to meet with you to discuss my concerns. You won't even follow up with parents regarding their concerns. You were elected to your positions by we, the people, to represent parents and students, but you've not done a very good job. The entire approach to COVID has been mismanaged. You were quick to fall in line imposing mask mandates, quarantines, and virtual classes, which did nothing to stop COVID in schools and everything to cause unnecessary stress, anxiety, and depression to so many students. This year, you did away with the mask mandates for the present time, but you've continued the quarantines without any plan to ensure the quarantined kids get the same education as those in the classrooms. There's also been no attention paid to the mental health of students. Moving on. We have various responses from you after the shooting in Oxford, and suddenly, now there's a rash of threats at multiple schools being made by students. This further shows there's a serious mental health crisis among students that's been largely ignored or badly mishandled. I can attest to this from my own experiences at my school. I was dealing with bullying issues from a group of boys on my bus. We've been given assigned seats, but every day after school, those boys would be in my seat, refusing to allow me to sit in it. They said I was fat and ugly and called me names, including bitch, and would try to trip me. Every day was a constant flurry of insults. Finally, I went to see my counselor, Mrs. Suhita, about this. She showed me a poster in her office and explained that according to the chart on that poster, I wasn't being bullied and that the boys were just being annoying and rude. She then stated that she would talk to the vice principal, Mr. Toko, about it. To me, this was like a slap in the face. I was being bullied, and I felt my counselor minimized everything I had told her. A few days later, I was called into Mr. Toko's office. I explained the bullying to him, and his solution was basically to reward the bullies my bus seat, the coveted seat they wanted, and to move me to a different seat. It's because of the way this was handled that I didn't feel comfortable speaking to any other school officials about other incidents of bullying. For instance, there was a different group of boys who threw food at me during lunch while shouting insults. They would accost me in the hallway right after lunch, pushing me, slamming me into lockers, and verbally assaulting me. If this is how incidents of bullying are being handled in schools, I can understand why there's a mental health crisis among students. Incidents are explained away and excused without any serious repercussions faced by the perpetrators, while their victims are made to feel demoralized. Kids will not seek guidance from school officials if they feel their concerns are downplayed or are dealt with inappropriately. There was an incident I spoke about at the last school board meeting regarding how my English teacher compared President Trump to Hitler during a discussion in class about the diary of Anne Frank. While I did appreciate, Mr. Monroe, that you took immediate action on this, I want to let you know that incident was also completely mishandled. The next day after speaking about this at the meeting, I was summoned to Mrs. McDill, the principal's office. She asked me to write down everything about the incident, which I did. She then proceeded to tell me that the comparisons like that were normal, and that the teacher had said nothing wrong. There were never any words from my English teacher regarding this entire incident. At the very least, she should have apologized to me or provided some type of explanation regarding her conduct. None of this sits well with me or my parents. When a kid has lost all confidence in the school officials, it's time to move on. So, I want to publicly declare my resignation from Shelby Junior High effective at the end of this current term. I will now be homeschooled. I do have a couple of regrets though. One is that I won't be able to become a member of the Superintendent's Student Advisory Board where, Mr. Monroe, you would have had to engage in conversation with me. Secondly, I will miss being a part of student government in high school. With all the political experience I've had and all the connections I've made with elected officials, locally and in Washington, D.C., I could have provided a lot of valuable insight and made changes that would benefit fellow students. But don't get too excited over my departure, Mrs. Thomas, Mr. Monroe, and other members of the board. I still want to advocate on behalf of other students in the district, so I will most likely show up periodically at future board meetings.
30-second warning.
And who knows, someday I may be elected to replace one of you.